This is the LA 6200 Legal and Regulatory Environment for Higher Education LP1 seminar with Jill Kissinger. And today we'll be going over a few PowerPoints. We will be covering the material for the Learning Plan 1, which is examining the legal structure and governance of higher education and how the judicial system affects an institution's policies and practices. We will be looking at the different types of university governance for the different types of higher education institutions, public, nonprofit, and for-profit institutions. Also covering different types of legal matters that a university might encounter, and looking at various historic cases in higher education. I have taken the learning activities, summarized them here for you, and I just want to touch on these, and also we'll cover information as we go through this. So the learning activities are to help you master the objectives, and the activities that you'll need to complete are the brief introduction to the discussion board, identify at least 2 learning objectives that you have for the course, and then in the post-forward learning plan 1.2 discussion, you will need to put in a definition for higher education governance, always cite your sources, and provide in that discussion the list of names, just the list of names for 5 public, 5 nonprofit, and 5 for-profit higher education institutions. So you want to categorize the institutions and also look at the different ways that the higher education institutions are governed. The next activity, which I'm going to spend some time talking about here, is locating and reading articles. And these could be cases also in your materials. It says locate and read one article from a reliable source. It could also be an actual legal case. So in addition to articles, you could actually be reading the case. And the 5 topic areas are criminal activity perpetrated by staff or a faculty member, criminal activity perpetrated by a student or students, qui tam or whistleblower action, and employment discrimination action, and academic freedom or a free speech action. Now remember, when you're looking at these articles or cases, that they have to have a relation to higher education institutions. So make sure that you're looking for cases that involve universities. The criminal activity perpetrated by a staff or faculty member, I'm just going to give you a couple examples of cases that have happened, and then you guys can go and look up your own cases and report on those cases. But basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be reading an article from each topic. So total of 5 articles. So in the criminal activity perpetrated by a staff or a faculty member, a couple cases that I want to talk about, because one is really more relevant to students, and just to give you an idea of kind of, these cases can be a lot of different topic areas for crimes. So they can fall into a lot of different areas. So criminal activity perpetrated by a staff member, I have one case, and I have one perpetrated by a faculty member. So the faculty member case is interesting because the case that came out of California, it was a UCLA professor, and the chemistry professor was overseeing the safety of a lab area, and he basically was not overseeing that lab properly, and students were injured, and he could face 4.5 years in prison, and UCLA itself could be fined. So understand that there could be criminal liability for the university as well, but obviously the university can't go to prison, so they would get a fine. The next case that I want to talk about, and I'm just giving you guys very, very brief ideas, just so you can go and look up some cases and have some different ideas how to find these. The other case that I want to talk about is a criminal activity by a staff member. And this is the Bates case. And this case is Bates versus the United States. And this was a case where a private nonprofit technical school was participating in Title IV funding, so Guaranteed Student Loan Program, and they were getting Title IV funding for their students under the Higher Education Act. And under that Higher Education Act, and we're going to talk about the Higher Education Act a lot, you're going to see a lot of that this term. Under the Higher Education Act, schools that are using that program to offer Title IV funding have to follow a lot of rules. And this is just one of the rules that is required. The rule that's required is that if a student withdraws from the school during a term, Title IV funding may have to be refunded to the government. So the school has received the Title IV funding, the student then withdraws from the term, then some of that Title IV funding is required to be refunded to the government. And in this case, in this Bates case, the treasurer of the school talked with the school's owners, and they initiated the practice of not making these refunds. And so they were not paying the refunds back, and they owed hundreds of thousands of dollars in refunds. And the case ended up in front of the Supreme Court, and the court held that there was not a requirement of specific intent to injure or defraud required to prove this case. And so if the government can prove that the defendant misapplied the Title IV fund, that's sufficient, knowingly and willfully, that's sufficient to show violation of the section. So that was Bates versus United States. So just giving you just a little idea of different types of crimes that could be happening, criminal cases. The next area of cases, criminal activity perpetrated by a student or students. And the first case that came to my mind in this area, if you guys will remember, the student Tyler Clementi, who was videotaped on the webcam having an encounter with another male in his dorm room, and he had been taped by his roommate. And then that tape was published, and then Tyler Clementi subsequently committed suicide. And that case is the state of New Jersey versus Dharam Ravi. And that there would be a case of cyberbullying. And I'm sure you guys are going to be able to find a lot of different cases out there. There are cases in all of these areas readily available to research. The third area is the Qui Tam. This is the whistleblower case. So I'm going to leave this for the end because we're going to talk about some whistleblower cases in that you're going to go over for your assignments. So we'll come back to the whistleblower action. Then the employment discrimination action. There's a case, University of Pennsylvania versus the EEOC, and this case was about an Asian American female associate professor who was denied tenure, and she filed a complaint alleging that the department chairman had sexually harassed her. So that's an example of discrimination action. An academic freedom or free speech action, these fall into a myriad of different individual topics that are covered in the freedom, academic freedom, or free speech area. There are one case that was kind of an original case as to the kind of the first case to address the student press on campus. So what limits does the university have when they've got a student newspaper? What limits does the university have in controlling the speech that's in that newspaper? So in Papish versus the Board of Curators of the University of Missouri, in this case, the journalism student, Papish, was expelled for disseminating a paper with a political cartoon, and university officials felt uh, that the cartoon included and that the newspaper included indecent speech. And they said that that uh, publication violated the university's bylaws. However, Papish ended up winning that case because the freedom of speech. So lots of areas for freedom of speech. The we've got in the freedom of speech realm, we have speech about religion. We've got electronic communications. So now start thinking about there are probably a lot of recent cases regarding electronic communications that we haven't had in the past. Classroom speech. What can be said in the classroom? And now you're talking about what can the students say, what can the professors say, what are they allowed to say as free speech? The employees, what are the employees allowed to say? So that includes employees and faculty. And what about student groups? What are they allowed to say? So you're going to find a lot of cases in the area of free speech and what is protected speech and what is not protected speech. So that really goes back to the First Amendment that if you're going to look at religious speech, we have the government has to be neutral with respect to religion and non-religion. And free exercise clause of the First Amendment prohibits government interference with reasonable exercise of religious rights. So that's on the religion area. And what about comments about professors? How are those protected? So students may be making comments about professors, so we get into the realm of defamation, possibly. So you're going to find a lot of cases in that area. And as I mentioned before, classroom speech, what can be said within the classroom. So it's going to be a little interesting now that we have so many ways to communicate electronically, what direction those cases are going to take. So in that activity, you're going to be looking at 5 articles, one from each topic, and then those will come up in your assignment. So this is your, this will come up in your discussion. So in your discussion, this is your discussion 1.3, you're going to post the citations or links to the articles and just an abstract for one of the articles. You only have to summarize one of your 5 articles. So you're going to have your list of citations and then a summary of one of the articles. And then you're going to reply to at least 2 of the classmates. Now, the learning activity 5, this is one that I really want you to pay attention to because if you have not analyzed cases in the past, this is where you need to go to the web address there and identify one case, and you're going to perform an IRAC analysis, so issue, rules, analysis, and conclusion from the summary. Simple explanation of IRAC you can find on the internet search. I really want you to take some time to do this because this will make all the cases that you're looking at in the future much easier to look at and read. If you can boil them down to the issue, what's the rule of law, how does the rule of law apply to the facts, and then what is the conclusion of the court. This is your assessment for this seminar. You have to have an assessment for each seminar, and this is worth 20 points. Submit your IRAC to the LP assessment Dropbox. Now, hint here, if you're really listening to the seminar, You can do that for one of the cases that you've already pulled up for the LP 1.3 discussion. That's totally fine with me. So you don't have to go look at that website for a new case. You can use one of the cases that you've already looked at. But I do want you to do the IRAC assessment analysis. All right. So now for this learning plan, you're also going to have a couple of assignments. The first assignment, obviously, get your discussion postings in by the dates given. The sooner you get them in, the sooner people can respond, and we can um, have a nice discussion on those topics. The uh, assignment one is to choose one institution from each category. So before you chose 5 institutions. You have a list of 5. And you don't have to choose one of yours. You can choose one of your classmates. But for one institution from each category, meaning one public, one private, nonprofit, one for-profit. Okay? So for each one of those, you're going to do what's the board called, who comprises the board, what do you think each member brings to the board, who's the highest ranking administrator under the board. And it is completely fine with me if you make a chart. You can do this in chart form. It's going to be a lot easier. Just make a chart, put your institution, and chart out your answers. Who's the highest ranking academic administrator? Who's the highest ranking financial officer? Do they have an office of general counsel? Then, after you've made your chart answering those questions, then compare each of the 3 types of institutions: public, nonprofit, for-profit, governing structures. Are there similarities? Are there differences? Of what you find most surprising? So that's pretty straightforward. Fine with me if you make a chart, make it simple. Then that's going to be your LP 1.1 assignment. The other assignment you have for this is the 1,500 words, 2,000 word paper. And this is what I want to spend some time going over. These cases that are the first 2 cases here, the Hendow and Hoggett cases. These are Quitam cases, whistleblower cases. So these are cases that someone, a party, is bringing on behalf of the United States. So Hendow and Hoggett are called relators, not realtors. So make sure you get the spelling correct when you type it. They are relators. They're relating a case on behalf of the United States versus University of Phoenix. And then the other case is the Washington versus Education Management Corp. And then we have the Senate report, U.S. Senator Tom Harkins report, For-Profit Higher Education, the Failure to Safeguard the Federal Investment and Ensure Student Success report. Those are the basis. Those are going to form the basis of your paper. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to summarize the 3 court cases. And I'm going to talk about those in a minute. Provide an analysis of how the cases are similar or different. Inform your opinion of how the cases are impacting the operations at for-profit institutions of higher learning. Then for the executive summary, you don't need to read the entire report. It's lengthy. So just read the executive summary from part 1, which will give you a summary of this entire report. And then you're going to read some individual sections, which are profiles of specific universities. And those universities that you're going to read about are Apollo Group, Strayer, National American University, Education Management Corp., and then pick 2 other institutions. So you're going to compare and contrast the reviews for each of the institutions and answer the following questions. So you're going to answer which institution fared better in the report, why, what are the most scathing remarks made about for-profit institutions as a whole, and for each of the 6 institutions or corporations individually. So that's going to form the basis of your paper. You're also going to have to look at some additional research, and you're going to have to go look up APSCU. And APSCU is the Association of Private Sector Colleges and Universities, and that is an interesting response to the report. So I want you to go look that up and then also what the Senate minorities, and at that point, the Republicans, do in the report. So in your conclusion, you're going to give an overall opinion about what did the committee find, what did ASCII reply, what did the Republican minority reply, and uh, that paper's worth 100 points. Now, I want to go over the cases a little bit here, just to give you an idea, because if you haven't read the cases, one of the things I want you to be mindful of when you're reading the cases, a lot of the cases that you're going to be reading are appellate cases, which means they've been appealed from the lower court, and they're going to have a lot of discussion about how they were appealed and why they were appealed and what the issues are on appeal. And those might be secondary issues or tertiary issues besides what the original issue in the case was. So always relate back to what the original issue in the case was and then how that was determined at the end. Sometimes these cases on appeal are the court finds that, appellate court finds that the case, the lower court erred for whatever reason, and the appellate court will send the case back to the lower court to be retried, reheard, etc. So sometimes you're going to have to wade through some of that in these cases to get down to the basic issue. So in the United States ex rel handout, this case was a qui tam action, so that means the relator is the private party bringing lawsuit on behalf of the government to recover money that the government paid as a result of fraudulent claims. So basically what's happening in this case is that Hendel and another party, Albertson, they were admissions advisors, enrollment counselors, admissions advisors at University of Phoenix. And let's back up just a smidgen to let you know the history of enrollment advisors. Basically, there was a ban enacted in 1992 by Congress that's called the Incentive Compensation Ban. There's a good explanation of that in the Washington versus Education Management Corp. And basically what happened in that ban is that prior to that time, admissions advisors were given incentives to enroll students. So they were paid based on their student enrollment numbers. That fostered some, I'll just say, shady practices where the enrollment advisors were not enrolling the most qualified students. They were not enrolling students who had, some of the students they were enrolling had no chance of procuring a degree. And the enrollment advisors were basically making a lot of money off of people who really were not qualified to be in the university. So the ban was enacted, and so at that point, the enrollment advisors were shut off from receiving any type of incentives. So, and that's the way it is to this day. They can't receive any type of additional incentive for number of enrolled students. So what was happening, what Hendel and Albertson alleged, is that they that UOP was violating the incentive compensation ban, and that University of Phoenix was submitting false claims to the government, basically saying that they were not in violation of the incentive ban. So Hendel and Albertson, as relators, brought the qui tam action under the False Claims Act, alleging that the Higher Education Act, Title IV funding, which regulates all of the Title IV funding of the universities, was not being followed. And then that case was resolved, and I'm not going to tell you how that case was resolved. You guys can go read how that case was resolved. Then we also have the Hoggett case, similar case, same thing, University of Phoenix. Allegations that University of Phoenix fraudulently asserted that it had been paid for incentives, and that the conduct continued with the knowledge support of the University of Phoenix compliance officers. Then the third case, the Washington versus Education Management Court, allegations of incentive compensation to recruiters, same situation. as I said before, in the Washington case, there's a good explanation of the Department of Education clarification that some activities do not violate the ban. So there are some quote safe harbor activities that the universities can partake in that would not violate the ban. So that Washington case has good background on all of that. And then the last area of interest is the Senate report on the for-profit higher education. And the title of this, Failure to Safeguard the Federal Investment in Sure Student Success. So what they're looking at in this report is that all of the taxpayers who are paying taxes to the federal government, that tax money being used to invest in students' education. So that money is basically being invested in the colleges, if you will, to provide for the students to receive financial aid, and then for the outcome that student will graduate, and that student will become a productive member of society, and that student will repay their debt to the government. So in that way, the Senate report is looking at how well are the for-profit institutions doing in ensuring student success, and how well they're doing at recruiting proper students that will be able to complete the programs and also complete programs that will allow them to obtain a job with the highest salary to pay back the student loans that they have received. So that is it in a nutshell. Are the for-profit institutions recruiting the proper students? Are they providing the proper programs that the students that the marketplace needs, and that the students will be able to get jobs and be able to go and make money in order to pay back their student loans, which all goes back to being an investment by the taxpayers into the students' future. So you're going to look at the executive summary only of that report. It's lengthy. Don't print the whole thing. Just read the executive summary. Then go through and read the profiles of Apollo, Strayer, NAU, EMC, and pick two others. So you've got for this learning plan, you've got your initial discussion, then you have two other discussions, and then you will have your two assignments. And that's all I have for right now. And I will see you in the